here, at least for the B stream. Here we are on Equilibrium for the first time in this broadcast, and possibly for the first time in the entire B stream. Here we are in the top left-hand corner, spawning all the way in the top left. We have our blue Protoss player representing Basilisk from the land of Canada. We have Trigger.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, currently teamless. It is Nina.
Took a long time, but we're finally on Equilibrium. I have not once encountered this map on the ladder. I think I've maybe seen one professional game on Equilibrium.
Oh my god.
But I was half convinced that this map was made up and not actually real.
I mean, true, we actually haven't casted on this map today, which is interesting because this is not a commonly... it is a relatively vetoed map. A reason for that is because of the gold bases. There are gold bases out here with very high yield minerals and gas, and very easy to take and expand in this location, and Trigger is going to be heading towards the southern portion of the map. So yeah, there's a lot of features that we can delve into, but before we get into the features of the map, when it comes to the players themselves, this is some of the best that we have to offer here in the Americas region. Some of the best Protoss that we have available. Sure, there's Estrella, there's Trigger, but there's also Disc, Nina, M. Canning, and they're all titans in their own right. And looking at the standings, both of these players are pretty neck and neck here in their overall scores. You know, the winner of this series, the loser won't be eliminated, but the winner will have a much more solid chance at actually making it into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Them being neck and neck, though, should not really come as a surprise, considering just how close they really are and just how much they practice with each other. Hashtag Team Trina in when WTL ran their 2v2 tournament. The two of them, oh man, the two of them had such good performances, but kept getting screwed by the weather delaying flights, their internet getting shut down. They had so much potential to go so far, but yeah, circumstances outside of their control meant that they had to forfeit a couple of times.
Yeah, they had to play from a PC bung as well. They had to they actually had to go in early. They thankfully they called the owner and they were able to go in early just so they can set up, just so they can play in some of those matches. I'd completely forgotten about that, but yeah, for those who don't know, Trigger and Nina are good friends, IRL. Like, they are good friends. They practice a lot together. Like, they do talk about the game a lot together as well. So this PvP is going to be a wild one, especially considering it is going to be a 2-gate into Twilight Council opener out of Nina, a more economic opener out of Trigger, going for that expansion before tech.
Indeed. As Nina is pulling no punches here in this matchup. That's immediately a proxy gateway is being thrown down. And Trigger is none the wiser for the time being.
Yeah, this is a one-base all-in. One-base all-in coming in from from Nina, sending everything across the map. Trigger coming in with Hallucination Scout is going to get eyes on the Twilight Council. Sees it researching. He sees 2 gateways and a lack of expansion. Now, he may be thinking that the goal base was taken. That is a possibility. He hasn't quite seen everything he needs to really piece this together as an all-in, but he does throw down a defensive robo back at home.
Yeah, regardless of what it is, I think Trigger has recognized that he needs to start building army, no matter what right now.
Exactly, as we are going to be moving out. Nina does have enough for expansion, so we could even try to go for a ninja, but there we go. We're going for a big round, a big warp in of Stalkers. Nina going to be pushing towards these bases. Blink is not done yet, by the way. We are not quite at that stage, but the armies are going to be clashing.
Yeah, for the time being, I would give the slight edge to Trigger, just because he does have these sentries, but they are pretty low on energy, all things considered, and Nina does have the better production capabilities. She can continue to just build up her Stalkers, and Blink is about to finish up, which will give her a massive boon. Trigger's Immortal is still a ways away.
Yeah, exactly. So far, good reactions out of Trigger with the Immortal production, with a second pylon. Soon to be, I imagine, another shield battery on the way as well, but Nina does have the Stalker advantage. She's going to be able to focus through and get one of those, even 2 of those Stalkers.
Just like so, targeting down the Stalkers, not focusing too much on the sentries. She definitely recognizes what the bigger threat is, but now the Immortal's about to rock up.
And I was second guessing myself, but it is going to be a ninja base. Nina is expanding elsewhere. I'm surprised that this isn't going to be the gold, so it's going to be a little bit harder to actually scout, but Nina is transitioning out of this all in. She has done a lot of damage, that is true, but Trigger still maintains his worker lead. A lot of those workers, though, are not mining.
Yeah, they are idle, so Nina going to continue to have a bit of a lead here. I like the ninja position that she's taken as well. The gold base, way too obvious. Getting the base right next to the gold, a little bit more misdirection, and if Trigger ever scouts the gold and sees, wait, hang on, you haven't taken this base yet, scouts the natural, haven't taken the natural yet, he may just think that Nina's committed to the one base all in.
It's true. Personally, I would have preferred Trigger's goal base. That's what.
Oh, that
would have been big brain. Okay, that would have been. But I along those lines, though, I do agree that taking this base is a wise choice. We just see Nina with high ground vision does blink into the main base, going straight for the robot, and she's gonna get it.
Just like so. Not quite able to get the Twilight Council, not quite able to cancel Blink. She is looking to trade, and she will be able to take one Immortal out, but perhaps has overstayed her welcome. Will blink out with a very weakened Stalker force, and yeah, will kind of ensure that Trigger will be able to break out from this contain, will be able to potentially take a third base.
Yeah, as that was a full Stalker trade for 1 Immortal and 1 Sentry, so an expensive trade for Nina, as you were mentioning. But now she's herself getting up to 2 base economy. The worker counts are pretty similar, pretty on par with each other, and Trigger has to reinvest into rebuilding that Robo, still in the dark, but going for a gateway explosion. Nina going for a Dark Shrine. Bold move, but there is detection available. There is an observer, even on the army.
But you know what? It's on the army. It's not at home.
True. You're not wrong, you're not wrong, as the Stalkers are going to be once again poking and prodding. The Observer going to try to get a read on what is happening. Trigger, he is checking his own goal-based location, so is making sure that that hasn't been taken by Nina. Will eventually be checking, I'm sure, Nina's gold as well.
Yeah, for a second I thought he did catch the movement of the Stalkers, and regardless, will be sending this Observer on a path that collides with Nina's Ninja.
Yes, the ninja base will be scattered. Not just that, the tech as well. This is where the Dark Shrine is, and that's also going to be confirmed by Trigger's Observer as well. As, he spots the base. He does not go far enough in to see the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, we'll confirm the ninja base. We'll confirm the Robo, so that's at least something here. But like you said, might just be playing a little too fast and loose with the Observer. With good enough fortune, I think Nina can definitely sneak in a couple of DTs where Trigger has absolutely zero detection.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. There's potential for damage, as the Observer still does not confirm what kind of tech there is hidden at that base. Trigger, though, is pushing with a hefty army. Yeah, the Observer is... Oh my god, it could even be scouted, could even be sniped.
One of them could be sniped, and it looks like it's gonna be... Both of them. Okay, then.
Let's go. Robo is under threat, but Trigger, he has a massive army, an overwhelming army, going to be able to break this position. Immortal comes out just enough. The force field does lock it in place, and it will fall.
Just like so. Nina is really starting to lose a lot of ground here. A lot of Stalkers are starting to fall, forced to pull all of the probes, and I don't think DTs are going to be enough to make up for this deficit.
Yeah, exactly. No DTs in sight. Immortals are going down one after the other. There's the first DT coming in. But we do take over control of this natural base. At the same time, DTs, they're wreaking havoc across the map. They're killing everything.
That they are. Nina actually pulling ahead here when it comes to the worker count. Obviously, a lot of her production is still very, very vulnerable, but regardless, she's not dead yet.
Yeah, a couple of Stalkers do recall back home. Trigger, he does take down at that ninja base, and with these 2 recalled Stalkers, he should be able to deal with these DTs as well eventually. But as you were saying, now we're basically 1 base versus 1 base. Trigger down in workers, but up in army.
Way up in army. Not a very sophisticated army. He did lose his Immortals, and he did lose his Sentries, but that's an overwhelming number of Stalkers. He doesn't even care about the DTs at this point. He knows he can just take the W with these Stalkers.
Yeah, it's 18 Stalkers against 3 of Nina, and even though he doesn't have detection, he will work his way through every single one of these Stalkers and get on top of all these workers as well. GG gets called. Trigger will take game number 1.
GG. I love what we've just witnessed here. Coming out from the NA region. This is what I love so much about the Americas. It's just wild from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, wild indeed. And oh boy, that took a couple of different turns. Initially, Nina, I feel like, had the advantage, and hey, those DTs, they just went to town on those workers. Like, things got very close, very chaotic. But Trigger, I feel like, maybe has come across this in the past, because he was very quick to check those southern base locations, very quick to find that ninja base.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that they actually workshopped together during their practice sessions. I wouldn't be surprised if Nina actually did take Trigger's gold base a number of times, because that was the first place that Trigger checked with his observer.
Yeah, that was the first place he did check. He's been done dirty before. It has occurred, and he was able to just muster up his army and move out across the map. And from here, we're getting into game number 2 on hard lead.
Indeed, we are. It's the beeps to keep on blooping. I guess they don't really bloop. They beep.
They beep, yeah. And they boop.
Yeah, towards the end, when it goes from 1 to 0, it goes boop.
There you go. And again, this map has quite a short rush distance by ground, so we could be seeing some more aggression. I'm sure we will be seeing more aggression, but the question becomes, from who?
Both. We're going to have Proxy DT versus Proxy DT as we load into hard lead here for game number 2 of our best of 3 PvP. We're over here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of America. Currently teamless, we have Nina.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of hard lead, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Trigger.
I think you might have missed out on one of Trigger's nicknames there in the intro. Oh, it's been known as the Canadian Starduck.
You're not wrong. We have called him that. That is true. That is true. If you're aware of what that means, then you're in the know in the chat. But yeah, it isn't just Nina and Trigger. Starduck was also a part of that friend group as well, all kind of rising up through the ranks together.
The Pacific Rim of Protoss, if you will.
There you go. There you go. Of course, Starduck did end up leaving them for greener or different pastures in the arcade.
Debatable how much greener it is over in Kerrigan Survival, but you know what? Trigger somehow was able to resist that temptation.
Mate, you know, yesterday I was streaming and I got so I always get random lobby invites from Starduck. For those wondering, Starduck is an Australian Protoss player. He's good friends with Trigger, and they kind of rose through the ranks together. I always get like lobby invites from Starduck for Kerrigan Survival, and yesterday I was streaming and I got a lobby invite from Trigger for Star Auction.
Oh no!
Which is another arcade game. And I messaged him. I was like, mate, you're just as bad as Starduck. What's going on? What's happening right now?
You messaged him, you're just as bad as Starduck, and he had never felt so offended by something that was so true.
These goddamn kids and their arcade maps. Shaking my head. But alas, we are getting into this, of course. We are settling into our game, and already quite a different opener here. Nina going for a Stargate in the main.
Yeah, something a lot more standard, not too aggressive coming out from the early game. Trigger being a little bit annoying with these pylon blocks, but it's not going to delay too much here of Nina's build.
Yeah, everything still is on point here. With this Stargate opener, it should be 4 Oracles, as Trigger's going to be moving out. It was an Adept opener as well. The Adepts are being caught out by said Stalkers. Good stutter stepping out of Trigger, but we do commit to the shade. We do avoid those Stalkers, and Trigger does not turn back around. He is pushing out, looking to get eyes on the would-be natural.
Yeah, would-be natural, as, of course, when you're up against somebody like Nina, somebody as tricky as Nina, it's never something that you can just assume. You can never just assume that she's going to be playing standard So you have to remain hyper vigilant, like he was in that previous game, and was why he was able to win game number 1.
Yeah, exactly. As the Adepts are going to be shut down, they try to slip out across the map, but they are met here by the army of Trigger. Trigger also saw the timing of the Nexus, and he should recognize that the Nexus timing of Nina is significantly later than his own. So he's not fully aware of what's going on, but there are Stalkers in position in the main. Oracle is making its way across the map, and Trigger may not have seen the Stargate, but can piece this together.
Yeah, he's got enough clues to make a solid case, and now the Oracle's dipping in, but the Stalkers are already in position to flank the Oracle. Nina quickly reacts and is able to evacuate, keeps that Oracle alive, and ready to get more damage in the future.
Oh, exactly. As behind this, we are taking up even further. Hallucination Scout confirms that there's still a Nexus on the way. It wasn't cancelled. We have a Twilight Council, third gateway on the way here from Nina. Looking to be quite aggressive, but again, because of the Stargate opener, Blink is going to be quite delayed here for our red Protoss. A little bit faster for our blue.
Indeed, and we'll see how well Trigger is able to utilize this advantage here. It's really on Nina right now to try to keep Trigger back and try to delay him as much as possible while she keeps up in that regard.
Exactly, as the Oracles are found out as well. Both of them, of course, 2 Oracles do one-shot workers, but alas, they still have not found a way into the mineral line. Actually, they head towards the natural, but Trigger not too far behind.
Oh no, one of the Oracles! One of them is out of energy, the other one is almost out of health. That's going to be the end of this harass for a little while. Again, Nina's done a really good job of keeping both Oracles alive. They can regain their energy and eventually continue to provide a lot of utility, potentially a bit more harassment damage.
Yeah, like what's important to take note of here is that even though these Oracles haven't actually done too much damage, they're still alive. They're still alive, they have potential for damage, as you were stating, as you were pointing out. And when it comes to the economies, even though Nina's base is a little bit later, she's only behind by 2 workers, so still able to keep up. As I say that, Trigger, with that slight lead, is going to be extending it with a 3rd base.
Just like so. Blink is about to finish up for him as well, and so will a robo facility. Trigger's really looking to, just secure his lead for as much of a lead for as long as possible.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He's going to be trying to extend that. As here we go, we do have Nina going to be rotating towards the left-hand side. Oh, is going to get caught out. At the same time, here come those Oracles.
And they will be picking off a cool couple of probes here. Nina takes a slight lead, and both of the Oracles still alive, which is pretty surprising, but Trigger has had enough. He's looking to reciprocate the damage, or not entirely, just looking to chase down those Stalkers. And he will get a couple of them for pretty much free.
Yeah, it does get a couple of those Stalkers in the end. Trigger behind this, still just getting this 3rd base up and running. We have Charge on the way, Forge as well for +1 upgrades. Again, Trigger just settling himself into this, and Nina just 1 step behind. Not the biggest of steps, but still a little bit behind here. We do have to try to come back in some way, shape, or form. The worker damage was good, and the Oracles are still alive. They're looking to come back in.
Like so. 3 Stalkers in position to try to deal with this, but the Oracles did regain their health. They have quite a bit of energy on them. They're very, very fast. This is like in those old school stealth games where, you're waiting for the enemy to just turn around and for you to really gun forward here. That's what these patrolling Stalkers remind me of. Remind me of like an old school Nintendo platformer. You're watching the pattern.
They are. They're just trying to time it correctly here, get in when the Stalkers are not quite ready for it, and then, get that speed run score.
Yeah.
Get the kill. As Trigger's going to be, oh my god, just doubling down and going for a 4th base as well. He just doesn't stop.
Might as well. He knows he's ahead when it comes to army supply. He knows that it's going to be very difficult for Nina to really punish his greed, so might as well get away with it whilst he can. Meanwhile, he's putting that economy to good use. Charge just finished up. He is getting +1, about to finish up soon as well. 2 more gateways get thrown down, and Trigger's just looking to secure as solid of an army as possible before making any major moves here.
Speaking of, here is the first major move for Trigger, as we do have the War Prism coming with the main army, and Immortal as well. We're just diving onto this center base, and we do force a cancel.
Just like so. You know, definitely having a hard time trying to chase this back without any oracles of her own. Charge is about to finish for us. Well, it's actually on the way, but yeah, she'll have that eventually as the oracles do dip in once more. We'll pick off a couple more probes. We'll dip into the main base. Unfortunately, a little misfire causes one oracle to go down.
Yeah, the Oracle does go down in the end, and Trigger does lose a couple of workers, but he was already ahead economically, so he still maintains his worker lead. Denying the center base is good enough, and Trigger, he's just mustering up his army, looking to push out once again. He's ahead 20 army supply. Oh, and Nina can't quite engage. +1 is also done for Trigger. Nina still one step behind, is down in those upgrades.
Down in the upgrades and down in the army overall, I would say. There aren't really enough zealots here for Nina to really punish the Stalker army of Trigger, and yeah, they also don't have charge ready just yet. So Trigger, with this concave, should be able to absolutely get the victory here in this engagement, and should have enough momentum to keep this push going.
Yeah, he takes down the zealots. He's going to be pushing forward once again on top of this center base. Blinks on top of the army. There's just not enough here. GG gets called, and Trigger will take the series 2-0.